Especially strong reflections appear where there's a strong light source, where dark spots on the facade, something starts to be seen inside. It depends on the lighting. We'll go to reflection layer, and now we need to increase reflections. But we can increase IOR to increase reflections, because now IOR is the common parameter for reflection and refraction. In general, everything's the same, and we add the same map bump. We also add color. There's one thing, the fact that here we use not clear code to increase the reflection power, but just IOR of our reflection. Hi, today we'll learn how to create facade glass. What features does this glass have? I selected 3 references where we can see what it looks like. First of all, its features depend on lighting and the time of the day. If we look at evening lighting, the glass becomes more or less transparent and we don't see reflections clearly. This is typical for evening glass. If it's daylight glass, it reflects a lot. And what is behind the glass is poorly seen. Facade glass in the day is like a mirror. Especially strong reflections appear where there's a strong light source, where dark spots on the facade, something starts to be seen inside. It depends on the lighting. There's less light inside during the day than outside. That's why we have reflections. Another feature of this glass is that it's rarely perfectly even. When it's put in multiple glazed units, it becomes slightly distorted. We can see it. It's seen here that tree reflection is not even, it distorts. And all of this is noticeable. We can see it here as well. Every glass is distorted differently and this effect appears. We'll try to repeat it in practice now, and I'll show you how to do it. I picked the working scene. This is a real project for a studio located in Turkey. In this project there are a lot of glass units. That's why I decided to use it as an example. Here's separate geometry here. It's all rolled into one. I can isolate it. You can click isolate section icon and we'll see geometry. This is solid glass. What's important for glass geometry? So that glass has some thickness, because without it working will be incorrect. There's yet another feature. Here multiple glazed units are modeled into one glass piece, but in real life there are 2 and even 3 glass pieces in multiple glazed units. So they're located behind each other. So as not to spawn this geometry, not to complicate the rendering process, we'll just increase the power of IOR reflections in our material. So I'll show you how to do it in Corona Physical Shader and the old Corona Legacy Shader. Let's have the isolate mode. I run the interactive mode now. Let's make this angle. Maybe we'll move it later to make the glass seen better. Enable interactive render mode. Now open the Corona render settings and run interactive. Click the lock to fix it, so that to move and go, let's say, to the top view and our frame doesn't change. Okay. Run the render of our scene. Sometimes you may get error notifications. That's not a big deal, you can minimize this window. Click the lock and close this window. Open Slate Material Editor. The material is already assigned to glass, but we'll create a new one from scratch. That's why I move it aside and create Corona Physical MTL and connect it to 2 slots. Because 2 different kinds of glass were used in this scene, and we'll use the same one everywhere. Now gray material is created in all glass pieces. Let's make a simple regular glass piece. Set roughness value to 0, set the IOR value to the glass to 1.55, let's add 2. Now we have slight reflections, but there's no transparency. So we need to add that. We won't change the color yet, set reflection to 1. Now a simple regular glass piece will be in our render. Let's select this area in the render with the region so that it renders faster. And now I'll show you how to upload render past reflection and refraction. It will be easier to set up the glass with them. So let's go here. Let me delete unnecessary things. These render elements are usually used for project post-processing, but now we don't need them. So add, reflection, and refraction. We don't have to refresh this because I had passes before that. Let's switch to reflection and work with that. So look, reflections are not very strong. Their power is weak. If we enable beauty pass, we'll see that reflections are weak. This happens because the light inside our house shines brightly. Let's try to reduce it. Okay, now I need to recall how I set up lighting inside. I did it using self-luminous material. That's why I just decrease the shining power. I need to pick a sample of this material and decrease multiplier value here. Okay, now it's not so bright, reflections are seen better. We'll keep it that way. We'll go to reflection layer, and now we need to increase reflections. But we can increase IOR to increase reflections, because now IOR is the common parameter for reflection and refraction. If we change it, we'll have the wrong refraction index. The index of refraction of glass is 1.52, and if we change it, the glass material will work incorrectly. That's why there's a trick how to add reflections without changing this parameter, which is add clear coat layer on top. We added it, and in it we can set IOR to 2, but thanks to the surface layer, reflection became stronger. Let's see what it looks like in the beauty pass. The reflections are stronger, so we keep it this way. We won't change it in clear coat layer. Let me set it to 2 for comparison, and we'll see what it looks like. So it's much stronger, and let's keep it for display purposes to see how it all looks and works. Basically, you can make this glass for stronger effect. Some clients like it. Now we need to add slightly green shade to our glass. We'll go to media options and add a greenish color, a slightly green shade, and this, and set the distance value to 100 centimeters. Not quite seen. Let's make it 10. Okay, a green shade has appeared, but I think that this will be enough. So why do we need it? Let me zoom in closer to this area. When we make these glass balconies, the glass should have thickness, and if the distance value here is too high, it will be unnoticeable. If we lower it, this thickness will be noticeable, like in real life. It's clearly seen here. Let's zoom out. There. The only thing left is to add a slight distortion to the glass. Now we go to Past Reflection and have a look, and we see that the glass looks like a solid, clean mirror, as if it's located perfectly even. But let's add the noise map, which we'll learn in previous lessons. Add the noise map to bump. And now reflections on the glass have appeared. They're too strong, of course, but we keep them this way. We can enable fractal noise. Noise changed a little, but I like more how regular works. Look, now we need to set it up to avoid these overflows. So what do we need for it? We need to switch from object X, Y, Z when coordinates are generated using procedural map automatically to the manual option of coordinate generation. So now we switch to explicit map channel. Then we need to apply UVW map to this class. Box type. But we uncheck real world map size and set the size to 300 by 300. That's noise we have. Let's make the size smaller here. Smaller. .300 by 300 is probably too much. Let's set 100 by 100. Okay, so we have distortions again, and now how to get rid of this overflow. In reality, this doesn't happen because the glass is not solid. It's divided into some sections, and we just need to make a random offset for each window. Some distortion of this glass will be shifted up, some down, maybe we'll rotate it, and we'll use Corona UVW randomizer map. It's a new node in Corona, which appeared in the 6th version of Corona, and it allows us to randomize the offset in our geometry. Let's select randomization by mesh element here, because it's all one mesh, and it suits us by elements. Check the box, nothing changes now. So you can randomize by primitives. If you have one material overlaid on several objects, then the offset will affect all these objects. The next option is subprimitives. If there are several sub-objects, by polygons and mesh elements, in this section we adjust the shift in width and height set from 0 to 50. You see there's a shift by width. Now this overflowing has become less noticeable. Let's do another vertical offset. Select the region. Now there's this overflowing anymore. We can still randomize it a little. Let's make a random 60-degree turn. You see there's no overflow at all. And we complete the process by making a random scaling from 80 to 120. We got this random offset on every glass. But now it's a very strong effect. If I look at the reference, the effect is not so noticeable. I mean, this distortion. We have too much in the scene. To reduce this effect, we'll go to Bump tab and reduce the strength to 0.1. And now the effect is not so strong. Basically, you can raise the value to 0.2. Now it's much better. I think we'll leave it that way. A random curve appeared in every window, and this is what creates the realism of the glass. Let's enable Pass Beauty and see what kind of distortions on the glass we get. We can close Material Editor window. Let's look for a nice frame. We have a glass here. But here, this effect may not be so noticeable. You see, there are distortions in the reflections of the opposite building, and you can see a slight curve, which is individual in every glass piece. Generally, it looks very beautiful and realistic. I forgot to tell you about the second option, how to create the same facade glass in Corona Legacy MTL. Let me run interactive again and show you. In general, everything's the same, and we add the same map bump. We also add color. There's one thing, the fact that here we use not clear code to increase the reflection power, but just IOR of our reflection. Let me select this part in the render with the region. Now I add Corona Legacy MTL to these two slots. We get gray material. Now we go to settings and set black color and diffuse. Set reflection and refraction values to 1. Set color and volumetrics and SSS parameter. Go to absorption and add light green shade about the same as we did before. And set distance value to 10. Increase reflection power in reflection and set IOR to 2. Basically, looks good. Let it be 2, and we need to add the Corona UVW randomizer map to bump. Distortions have appeared, but they're too strong, that's why we'll set the bump value to 0.2. This is too much again, set it to 0.1. So we have distortions which don't overflow and are located randomly to each other. The same thing, the only thing is that in reflection we increase IOR and set up everything else in the same way. That's all about facade glass. I hope you know how to set up this material, how you can increase reflection power to have a more attractive look of glass, how to make these random reflections on every glass. So there you have it. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next lesson.